No, I hadn't met Laura-Lynn Thompson until I guess maybe a few months ago, and when we started talking about this, she soon became the contact that we were dealing with to get a hold of Maxime to see if he'd like to speak here. And just while I'm on that, we invited Maxime and Andrew Scheer on the same day, and so if anybody's giving you a hard time about who's here and who's not, don't talk to us about it, but talk to who's not. But in any event, so anyway, I started, it takes a lot, you wouldn't believe how many phone calls it takes to organize something like this, and I'd call Laura-Lynn and she'd say, hi Laura-Lynn, she said, well, can I phone you back? I'm golfing with Max, like, could I get back to you later? So okay, phone me back. So the next day I'd call him, I'd say, well, wonder what Max thinks about this. Well, I'll be golfing with him tomorrow, like I'll ask him about that. So then talk to him a few days later, and I'd say, well, I wonder what Max is going to do about this. Well, I'm going to be golfing with him next week. And Laura-Lynn, are you here somewhere soon? So when I'm done telling this story, I would like you to be here. But in any event, so I called her, and yeah, well, I'll be golfing with Max next week, and I'll talk to him about that. So I saw her the other day in the hotel, and I said, so you've been golfing with Max lately? Oh, she said, I don't golf with him anymore. I said, oh, like, why not? And she said, well, like, would you golf with somebody who moved the ball when you weren't looking, and wasn't totally honest with their score when they added it up, and never ever reached in their pocket on the 19th hole? I said, well, I suppose not. And she said, well, Max won't either. Anyway, Laura-Lynn, come on up here and introduce a dear friend of ours.
I think he was totally dissing me. Do you know what? I wish I had that much time to golf with Max. We're wanting to shake Canada up, and Max doesn't have any time to golf. So I will tell you, I've never played one round of golf with him, and it would be terrible because I can't golf. But I can tell you what I do want to share with you. I want to tell you in just 2 minutes flat. Catherine said, you only have 2 minutes. Catherine is Maxime's wife. And I looked at Maxime and he said, you have 5. So I told her, he's the boss. So we'll listen to him. I want to tell you why Maxime is the 5th most important man in my life. Oh, I forgot God. It's 6th. Okay, number 1 is God. Number 2 is my husband. Number 3 and 4 are my 2 boys. And then there's my father. I love my father. He's 84 and he's brilliant. And I love him dearly. But next to that is one of the most courageous, most full of integrity men that I know, and that is Maxime Bernier. Our nation does not yet know the full price that he has paid in order to stand up for our nation. But let me tell you what happened. How did my path cross with Mr. Bernier? Well, about 2 years ago, I had the perfect life. I was a national television show host. I was on daily. Some of you know me from the show, 700 Club Canada. And I got to talk about my faith and what I believed was important in life. And I loved it. And I was living the dream. I'm telling you, I was living the dream. And then a mother told me about what was being taught to our children in British Columbia. It's called gender fluid ideology. Some of you might know about that, and it is worth a laugh, isn't it, sir? And that kind of ideology is going through our schools in Canada, and it's making its way all the way from the UN, I might add.
That's right.
And so I found out about this, and I began to say, I don't think little boys should be taught that, and I don't think little girls should be taught they can switch their gender. So I started standing up for what I was hoping was right. That's terrible lighting, isn't it? Look at that. Wow, if I move over here, is it better? Okay, all right, are we good? I'm gonna put up with the lighting. So what happened was I began to stand up for some things in Canada that I thought that we had lost the plot on. And when I did, I was targeted by activists. And I'll tell you that not all LGBTQ hate me. In fact, I have many friends in the LGBTQ, but the activists targeted me. They didn't like that I spoke about gender ideology. They didn't like that I spoke out loud. They didn't like that I wasn't politically correct. And so I was targeted. They called the CRTC and requested that I was never put on the air. They called all the channels that I was on and said, never let that woman, she's a bigot, she's a homophobe, she's a transphobe. If any of you have ever stood up for anything right, you've been called those names too. Woo! Good for you. If you haven't been called names, step into the fire. It's super fun. So when I stood up for that, I was targeted, and I eventually lost my national job because it just became too much for them to be handling all of this that was going on. And they were very good to me as I left out the door, but no one was prepared for what was going on in our nation, that it was turning upside down. Have you noticed that we've lost the plot on common sense? Have you noticed that everything that should be right is now deemed wrong, and what is deemed wrong is now spoken of as being right? I got red-pilled, just like a guy last night. He came up to me, he was shaking. He said, I got red-pilled today. I said, I know, you'll be okay. You might have to start drinking more, but you will be okay. And I also told him something else. The People's Party of Canada knows exactly what we are facing. And so you see, I decided at that point, and I'm Catherine, I still have 3 minutes, okay? All right, and so I decided that because I'd lost my job, I'd been red-pilled, I saw what our nation was facing, I wanted to protect the children of our nation. What was I gonna do? I was gonna run for Parliament. I was going to put my name forward to be a member of Parliament, and I was going to stand for our nation, because I found out that there were other activists. You know what they're doing? They're going to Ottawa and they're lobbying people, and they're telling people that, hey, we're all gender fluid and you got to get on board and sign up for Bill C-16, and you got to sign up for this and sign up for that. And I was like, well, I'm going to be one of them. I'm going to go and I'm going to make policy. You know, it was like Legally Blonde goes to Parliament. And so I put my name forward with the only party that I had ever voted for my whole life, the Conservative Party of Canada. I was true blue, man. I put my name forward, and I was even told by Ed Fast, one of the members of Parliament, very well respected. He said, you know what, you're going to be a star candidate. This is good, this looks good. You're a national broadcaster, you stand for what's right. It's good. But within a short period of time, I was rejected from the Conservative Party of Canada.
As was Mansour.
And you know what? The reason is because they didn't want to have any trouble, you know, with some of those agendas that are going on. And they wanted to just have a smooth sail. But I found out it's too late for that. If we have a smooth sail, we are not going to take back our land. It's too late. We have to stand. So I was rejected. I was rejected by the CPC in one riding, and then I said, well, I'll try again. People begged me, you're the right kind of candidate, we're going to fight for you. And they said, in Burnaby South, Jagmeet Singh is coming. The one who calls me a racist. I said, well, sir, at least I'm allowed in India. And so I put my name forward the second time with the Conservative Party of Canada. I wrote a lengthy letter. I said, please, I'm willing to stand for what's right. I don't care what they call me. I'm willing to stand. I'm like Braveheart. Rah! We take our country back. And again, it was just a very firm no. Absolutely not. And I knew it wasn't just the color of my hair. I knew it was because we're facing things that we actually don't know how to face. And so I was very forlorn, I was very upset and sad, and I thought, you know, where am I going to, because sometimes you feel something inside, you feel a calling. And I feel Maxime Bernier feels that calling inside, that you are called to a nation, you're called to stand, you're called to do something outside of yourself that costs you everything you've got. You're called to do something that you don't even know if you can do. And I was confused because no one was receiving me to put my name forward. I was willing to stand for the nation. And then somebody said, well, what about Maxime Bernier? And I said, the Frenchman? Can we trust anyone from Quebec? And I said, all right, well, if you'll give me a call, I'll talk to him. So it was a few days later, 7 a.m., because of course it's 10 a.m. in Quebec. They don't think about how we're still sleeping. The phone rings, and I'm thinking it's my alarm, and I'm kind of going like this, and then I look at it. Maxime Bernier. I jump out of bed, I slap myself, I throw water on my face, and I answer the phone, acting in the very best way that I can, that I'm actually awake in British Columbia. And so he says, Laura-Lynn. He can't say my name right. Laura-Lynn, you know, you've been rejected twice. And I knew what he was thinking. Why would I want you? You've been rejected twice. Tell me, what is this issue? And I said, well, sir, I was just standing up for the nation. I don't think a little boy should be told they can be a girl, and a little girl should be told they can be a boy. You know, and I went into a whole bunch of stuff he didn't even want to know about. And he listened for a long time, like Maxime Bernier does. He listens. And he heard me. And at the end of that talk, he said, you know, Laura-Lynn, I can't promise you anything, because you are kind of blonde. But I will tell you, I'm going to have a look at your resume, and if that's the only thing you were rejected for, this is Canada. We have a charter of rights and freedoms, and we get to believe anything we want, because this is Canada. I found out that day that not only is my father and my husband one of the bravest people that I know, because they stand up for what's right, but there was one leader in Canada who dared to stand up for what is true Canadian. And he did decide to run me, and he took heat. The next thing I saw, he was on CBC. They should be defunded. And CTV, and what was he doing? He was defending my right to common sense and believing that men are men and women are women. He had to defend me on national TV. I have not seen another leader in Canada do anything of the sort, and I hope that you will give a rousing ovation to Mr. Maxime Bernier, the leader for the people. Thank